Good morning. This is my third video based on my book, Tapping into Ancestral Healing, and I do know it's the wrong way round, but I don't know how to change it. And I thought I would share some of the information from the book and do a little bit of tapping with you. And the last video was about the survival strategies that came down through the ancestors to us and clearing anything that's not for our highest good. And one of the things I wanted to talk about is, we talked about the survival strategies of our ancestors, but I think probably what we don't always realise is where our ancestors actually come from will be how those survival strategies were created. If you were born, if your ancestors have been from the UK for years and years and years, you will have a very different set of survival strategies from somebody with a Jewish background, or somebody with an Afro-Caribbean slavery background, or somebody with an East European background, because different survival strategies are needed in different places. So, in the UK, we hadn't been invaded successfully since 1066. So defending ourselves against invasion is not high on our priority list, but being seen as being better than those around us, or stepping into our greatness, being seen as successful in things, is something that we're not comfortable with. The old, don't get too big for your britches. Who do you think you are? And that's about that feudal system where you had to stay in your strata of society. Everybody knew their place. And if you stepped out of it, it destroyed that whole structure. So you were slapped down very quickly. If you have a Jewish background where Jewish people have been victimized for many years, many centuries, then there will be that sense of can't stay safe, can't keep my family safe, don't know whether I'll be able to stay where I am or whether I shall be exiled again. If you have an Afro-Caribbean slavery background, then there's that powerlessness. I can't keep myself safe, I can't keep my family safe, I have no choices. Everybody else can choose what to do with me. I don't have that choice. If you come from Europe, as opposed to the UK, where boundaries have constantly changed, and people can invade or be invaded just by crossing over an artificial line, then there will be a different set of survival strategies. That fear of being invaded, or that need to invade to prevent yourself being invaded. And all of those things will have created worldviews and survival strategies that gets passed on. And, if you think about the United States, almost everybody in the United States is an immigrant at some point if you go far enough back, unless you're pure Native American. And even then, they may also have been immigrants at some point. But they came with different backgrounds from different countries, from different times. And often people are still running those things, even in the States, when the world is very different and they moved to do something differently. I was doing a workshop in New York, and we were doing it on success. And we were talking about people's blocks to success. And as we went around the room asking what people's blocks were, it was so interesting because I could say English background, Irish background, Jewish background, and people were just laughing because it was so obvious. And of course, the reframe is that those people had come to the States in order not to keep doing what their family had continued to do, and yet they were still doing it in a different situation. So I thought we'd do a little bit of tapping today on letting go of the structures that were created based on the traumas of the places that people lived and the rules that were in place there. Because that'll give you some freedom to be yourself and create structures that work for you. So we'll be tapping mostly on the side of the hand. And as always, if you're tapping with me, then you're taking full responsibility for your own well-being. So even though my ancestors came from where they came from, and their worldview was created because of that, their survival strategies were created because of that. The strategies they created to deal with trauma was created because of that. And all of that got passed down the family line with the best of intentions to try and keep the next generation safe. And I'd like all parts of me to recognize how far back these things were created and how different life was then. I'd like all parts of me to look clearly at my life now and see where the mismatch is, where I'm running survival strategies that were created for a different time and a different place. And I'm letting all parts of me know it's finally safe to release these back to the universe for recycling into something more useful, with my thanks for a job well done. Releasing now all those outdated survival strategies, all those outdated rules for living, all those outdated structures that are no longer useful for who I am and where I am right now. They've done their job, and I'm releasing them back to the universe for recycling into something more useful, with my thanks. And I hope you find that helpful. It'll be interesting to hear how things are as you start to clear things. Take care. Bye.